Today in the crypto space, we see the market getting a bit of a bounce to the upside. Bitcoin up approximately 3% and Ethereum up approximately 1%, hovering above that $3,000 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much going sideways, desperately trying to hold some support. We have BNB looking pretty good, and Solana and many others. However, there are some dips. Look at Core and INA and Celestia, for example. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about TARAXA. Is TARAXA looking for that bounce? Are we going to get a nice bounce to the upside and get into price discovery once again? You know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish. It doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. Let's scrape through the top 100. Then we'll take a look at the Bitcoin chart to see if it can give us an indication of where this general market is going in the immediate short term. Because if Bitcoin gets a nice bounce, we could see a nice altcoin recovery as well. So we got to try to use Bitcoin as that leading indicator. And then, of course, we'll take a look at Terra, see what's going on with Terra. Is it an opportunity? Should we be scaling in, DCAing at these lower levels? All right, guys, let's get going here. We see that the overall market, you know, Bitcoin kind of holding, it's kind of doing its thing. Like, I'm getting a bit of confidence here as time progresses, because Bitcoin at the current moment is still grinding to the downside, but you can see that there's divergence on momentum, and even the trend is pivoting just a little bit. So here we are at good levels of horizontal support. We bounce right back into the sideways consolidation that we've been analyzing here for a long while. You know, while others were looking at it as a symmetrical triangle or a triangular formation, Bitcoin here on the channel, we've been talking about it as a sideways consolidation that was looking like a nice sideways channel. So for me, honestly, when we start looking at price action, it's very important to let it mature. And as we see the Bitcoin price mature, I'm starting to get a bit more confidence with our invalidations. Our setup is a lot clearer, and so on and so forth. So keeping an eye on Bitcoin is a good idea. Right now, Bitcoin is doing pretty good, right? It's definitely outperforming Ethereum, suggesting that the Bitcoin dominance should be up today. Okay, so what else do we have? ETH going sideways. In fact, looking a little bit more sideways, a lot more, conclusive with its sideways consolidation than Bitcoin is, because Bitcoin has made a slightly lower low, right? So this is the thing. It could be the difference between a class A bullish divergence and a class B bullish divergence on both heavyweights here. BNB sideways as well, Solana sideways. However, we are up on both, and it's just because of this little pop to the upside on the tail end of this consolidation. It doesn't mean that we're exiting the consolidation. It just means right now we're potentially going to touch the top of the range of the consolidation, which is always really good, right? It's always healthy. Maybe we get a breakout. You never know. What else do we have here? The rest of the market is pretty much the same, guys. Look at it. There's no real point of me going through all of this. If you can see, like, generally we're going sideways, right? There's nothing really interesting. It's planking like a stable coin. The market is really stable right now. These are opportunities, guys, to start doing those deep dive, doing the research, because honestly, if you're fundamentally bullish on a project, you'll start DCAing. You'll buy a dip on a nice sideways consolidation. If we do go down to lower levels, you'll have the convictions to buy a little bit more. And that's what we're seeing right now. Yesterday, we talked about stacks. Stacks today is up 6.1% off the Bitcoin narrative, of course. And I feel like any dips on stacks should be considered a leverage position on Bitcoin, essentially, because it's of the volatility that it provides. Bitcoin running up means that stacks is going to outperform Bitcoin, but it's going to run up alongside Bitcoin. So it's a good idea to start looking at those layer twos on Bitcoin and those Bitcoin narrative projects that could could give us a little bit of a recovery, a quicker recovery if Bitcoin does run and show strength in this market. Filecoin, stablecoin, BitTensor, bottom of the range, but going sideways. Render also kind of stable, doing its thing. And a lot of projects are doing a very similar. Nice stability throughout the market. Not really a trading opportunity, right? Traders need volatility. We need up and down. We need peaks and valleys and ebb and flows and all that stuff that allow us to trade the momentum. And if we don't get momentum and we're not getting any volatility, then what are we doing here, guys? So invest your time accordingly. Invest in yourself. Get into some of those projects, do those deep dives. I think that would be very useful. And obviously, guys, I have plenty of deep dives for you guys to go through. We can discuss all of that tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Feel free to join. And of course, if you have any projects you want me to cover, that's a great time and place for you to make those requests, and I'll put them in top priority. Right now, the market is sideways. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's jump right into the charts. I know you're here to talk about price action, so let's do that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin at the end of the day is going sideways, as can be seen, not really doing anything really interesting. In the last little while, you know, it has been forming a structure, and you guys know how important structure is to me, especially if I'm going to make decisions. Let's kind of recap. If you've seen in the past that a lot of people on socials were talking about a triangular formation, I was one of the individuals that were saying, nah, I'm not really crazy about that. It's underdeveloped, right? So I kept it very loose, and I'm like, look, I'd rather look at it as a range, and we can see how the range is being respected. However, we also have to identify is that there is a bit of divergence happening. Now, we're going to stick on the daily. And you know that when we hunt for divergences, we have to look at body candle closes, right? We're looking for bodies, not wicks. So let's exclude the wicks. And you know what? Let's change the color of this for a second so that we can emphasize its importance. Let's make it a bit thicker, and let's change the color just a little bit. Let's make it yellow for now. Okay, so we can see that we are downward sloping, and we'll try to make this as accurate as possible. And this is going to be the basis of a divergence that we have here. We're downward sloping with a bit of a channel to the downside. Fair enough. Now, statistically speaking, you know, if we consider this a bull flag, it should break out to the upside. Just keep that in mind. Nice consolidation, good amount of volume, bottom of the range, volume gap, suggesting that if we hold, it's because we're holding on the top of the volume gap, and the bulls are going to, you know, try to defend this zone. Because of course, if we break below, it starts to look very, very weak, where we can start hitting lower levels. 52K is my target. However, we did wick below. And you can see that we got bought up real quick. Guys, that's what happens. You have to understand that that's the market plays games. And the market playing game is hunting liquidity. That's what basically how, you know how many people got wrecked here? Because they were entering shorts, and then all of a sudden we got the short squeeze to the upside. And then maybe a lot of people going long, and we wicked down, and then all of a sudden now we're up. So maybe they're in profit, or maybe they put the stop loss as they were going long, and it triggered their stop loss, and all of a sudden back up. So you got to understand, breakout trading, which is a breakout trade, ultimately, if you entered around this level, which is at about emotional individuals. And for me, I'm not a breakout trader. I like swing trading momentum. So at the end of the day, I see that the momentum in this chart is still facing down. We're still suggesting that we could break down. So this is why I am super hesitant even getting long. However, with this divergence that we see here, we can see that we're making lower lows on the price action, right? Which is very clear. And we can see that the momentum in or the change of the trend is definitely here. We see that we're slowly moving to the upside. Look at this cluster of these histogram bars in comparison to this. So we have to see that there is a trend potential divergence, class A bullish divergence on the trend, which for me is quite interesting. It's quite important. I appreciate those. However, I'm not seeing a clear divergence just yet on the daily on the momentum, and I would like to see that. Right, we're making that lower low on the price action, lower low on our side, so there's no divergence there. However, if we get on lower time frames, we might be able to see something maybe that will give us an edge. And really, the risk to reward ratio is what interests me the most. Risk to reward is actually the most important when entering or building your or planning out your position, planning out your trade. Why? Because you want to mitigate your risk. If you went long right around the zone, even after bouncing into the horizontal or into the channel, you know, you could put a stop loss right below again and get into a trade, and you would be up. And your risking is very little. You're only risking a little. And that's when you're in a healthy position. You put yourself in a break even. You put your stop loss at break even. That way you mitigate all your risk into a risk-free trade, and that's a good place to be. Now, if you plan on getting into a long position on Bitcoin, just understand that it could come back down to range lows. It could even break down again and come back to 52K. So where are you going to put your stop loss? I know these wicks make things a little bit ambiguous, but again, getting into a long position, putting a stop loss right around 60,000, 61,000 is not a bad idea. And even on a retracement, building a bit of a position into this area you might consider this to be a reversal to the upside again. Just understand that we're getting a bit of bullish divergence right here on the trend, a bit of a pivot, which I kind of like. However, the EMAs are still facing down and red histogram bars to the downside, suggesting that, you know what, look, the red dot is here. We got the bearish divergence into here. So this is a little bit early in my opinion, but still something to watch out for, okay? So I'm slowly feeling okay here at this lower levels. Let's go in the 4 hour for a quick sec, and we can see that ultimately here is where the bullish divergence is on the 4 hour. So I'm expecting a 4 hour move, okay? So what that means is that if we're going to get a 4 hour move, I have to enter on the 4 hour and exit on the 4 hour in order to, you know, keep my strategy intact, because my strategy has to consider that because the daily is not giving me the signal, it could keep on breaking down. And if the 4 hour is looking bullish, I have to exit on the 4 hour. Lower lows on the price action. Let me show you what I mean here. Lower lows on the price action right here. Higher lows on the momentum, which for me is showing a sign of strength. The fact is that both the expansions are getting divergence. You look at this expansion in comparison to that one, it's a lot weaker than the first one. The trend to the upside on the momentum is looking great. It's facing up while the price is coming down, and we're also getting confluence on the trend reversal here on these waves, on the trend waves, looking great. Nice bullish divergence, and you can see the green dot suggesting that we're ready to pivot. And you can also see that the MACD EMA cross to the upside, green histogram bars up, and we're also getting divergence on the MACD. Really, really healthy on the 4 hour, suggesting that if we come down and make a higher low, confirmation low, we can start classifying this as an inverse head and shoulder. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Neckline is right around 64,000. Make a break to the upside and take profit at the point of control at worst case scenario, about $69,000. I would be taking a bit of profit, trailing up a stop loss, getting defensive. And what about if we do get rejected at about 66? That's the problem. We have the 200 EMA on the 4 hour. I feel like it will get a bigger expansion, to be honest, and kind of go within this range a little bit. Just prepare for a lower high and exit a little bit earlier, maybe at the golden pocket right around 69,000 would be a great exit position for a short-term scalp move to the upside. And then ultimately, if it does break out, you may get yourself in a good position where you put a stop loss and it breaks out and it continues going to the upside, and, you know, maybe hitting that bullish price target of about, you know, 83,000 probably is where I would expect the price to go with a nice impulsive move. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Ultimately, Bitcoin's still in the channel. Do we want to trade this channel, to trade the range? If you do, start hunting for that long position right around here with a clear stop loss right underneath the consolidation, which is underneath right around $60,000. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's take a look at Terra. Terra, of course, lately has been looking really, really good. It's been getting a few upgrades, a few good, you know, let's say publicity on X and within the community, which is really good. And the price action obviously got a nice pop to the upside, right? Nice pop, nice proof of life, what I like to call that it's waking up. Now we can kind of fine tune some of this price action. I had this horizontal in here for a good while, a long while in fact, and now we can see that there's plenty of respect on this horizontal. We got this top, this bottom, this bottom, this bottom. Like if we can kind of give it a bit of wiggle room on this horizontal, you can see that this general area is very important. Now we're getting that double bottom, which is nice. Did we get any divergence? Yes, we did. We made a slightly lower low on this low. Let me zoom in a little bit. Slightly lower low, as you can see it. And if you look at the momentum, it is pivoting to the upside, right? Making a slightly higher low right down here if you compare the purple line, right? Let me zoom in here and I'll show you what I mean. Purple line at those equal spots here. Purple line is moving up very clearly, and so are the momentum waves, definitely coming down, but this one is higher, which is very good. So class A bullish divergence right there. However, this expansion is not completely done. It's almost done, in my opinion, that we should see a bit of a tapering in and then maybe get a green expansion as we had in the past right here. Maybe get a bit of a bullish move, bullish response. Okay, so what did that mean for me and for you guys if you're looking for entries? This wick was great. This move was good, but this wick down here suggests that individuals right here are preparing for a confirmation low. If we come back down and we are able to accumulate at any lower levels than where we are right now, I think those would be a great entry. What you really have to understand is your invalidation, right? Your invalidation has to be at these lower lows. 0.0076 more or less. This horizontal, I'm going to thicken it up to highlight its importance. This level right here is the invalidation for a long position. If we break below this low, it starts to it starts to look like we're going to come down to this empty space right here and test this level. So you want to get out. You want to be able to see where the next stop is. If we don't catch this stop and we come down lower, you want to make sure that you preserve your initial investment, your capital, in order to use it down here so that you can get back in, yes, on a little bit of a loss, but it's all good because you'll have earned more tokens at this lower level, more coins at these lower levels, so that when we get that bounce, you'll recuperate, guys. You'll recuperate, and that's very important, not to walk away, to mitigate your losses and then reaccumulate at lower levels, right? So ultimately, this is what I'm saying. If we do come down closer to invalidation, we need to accumulate as best as possible in this area, is that's going to improve your risk to reward. If you get your trade setup going, and let's say average, if you enter right here, stop loss right into here, just right here, keep it tight, okay, and then your exit should be right at range highs. That's where it's like, you want to get defensive. Why? Because we could range out here for a good while. The reality is a lot of people always took profits right around this level. Not to say that we can't break out, but you have to anticipate that the first stop is this previous high right around this level. I would be prepared for it. And your ratio is not that good. It's 1.9 a risk to reward ratio. What you really need to do is improve it by having an entry down here, so that your risk to reward ratio improves, and of course your losses are mitigated, so a lot less losses versus how much you're going to potentially make. You can make 72% with a loss of 15%. With a decent position size, you should do very well. However, if we grab this and we make a duplicate of it, and we kind of just put it right here, okay, and we can make this one smaller. We don't need it so big. Let's move it over, and let's grab that and just move it over there and just kind of do one of these and say, look, if we even keep a bit of the position, take, maybe half your bag off the table, take some profit, and let this thing run even to the previous high level. This is where the magic happens, because that position has the potential to make 200%. So the question is this the absolute bottom? Are we done? Are we done this retracement? It does look like it's possible here, guys. Double bottom, nice bullish divergence. The MACD is looking great. The trend reversal indications here are great. We're getting an EMA cross to the upside, green histogram bars, and the trend waves are looking great. You know that once we move from green, dark blue to light blue, or a dark color to a light color, we start to say, you know what, it's likely for a pivot. Backtest it. Every time we do that, we get a reaction to the downside, and then we get a reaction to the upside, and it works out pretty good. So it's not bad of a scenario to build a bit of confidence with the fact is that we could be looking for a pivot. If we break above 1.4 cents, 1.48, something like that, cents, it's very likely that we start looking for some targets at higher levels, which is the previous high right here at about 2 cents, 2.3 cents. That would be epic. So this is the trade. Because your risk to reward ratio is healthy, it's not bad. Just understand that we can see that if Bitcoin does break down, Terra and a lot of other altcoins will come down. But just keep in mind, Bitcoin already dipped, and what happened here? Nothing much. It's actually holding this nice little bottom range very, very tightly and closely. And it's likely that if we start seeing some good reversal momentum in the crypto space, it looks like Terra's ready to run. So building a position as best as you can, and in this case scenario, your entry doesn't have to be so low. In fact, even if you got in like right around here, your ratio is still 2 to 1. It's still okay. Like 3 to 1 is ideal. Obviously, right around here, you can get in out to 200 daily EMA. That would be really good for a better risk to reward ratio. As you can see, if we come down right here, buy a bit of a dip. If you come down, buy a little bit more, all into here. That way, overall, your average is healthy. So let me put a yellow box in here to, kind of let you guys know that this is a good, healthy area to start DCing and accumulating and slowly dragging down your average cost, so that upon a bounce on this horizontal, you definitely have a good entry, and still you're mitigating your risk by having a very nice tight stop loss. And this one's a bit too loose, perhaps, a little stop loss right around here where you can have a safety net just in case. All right, guys, we did well here. If you want to follow me on the socials, of course, The links are in the description below. I am going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern talking about crypto news and price action. Feel free to join. That is a great time and place to make any requests, of any projects that you're basically interested in. I'll definitely put them in top priority. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.